to this point of, are McLaren immature? Are they not mature enough as a top team? And are they ready to start winning world championships again? So we've just come off the back of the Hungarian Grand Prix, and we saw a very controversial McLaren 1-2, Oscar Piastri beating out his teammate in the end. But did he really beat out his teammate?
Unfortunately, no.
Bit of a sour win for Oscar, isn't it, really?
It is, and I think he thought it was a sour win as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, unfortunately. Yeah.
But it's difficult, isn't it? Like, you would say the first and the second stint, he was comfortable.
Yeah.
Comfortably in the lead. Deserved the win for sure. And the third stint, obviously, that second pit stop, McLaren messed it up, pitting Lando first. But Lando made the lead.
Yep.
Lando made the lead, and yeah, it wasn't great by McLaren.
No, it wasn't, and they both deserved to win.
Oh yeah.
Which was really annoying because McLaren somehow made the worst 1-2 in F1 history. I don't know how they managed. How are you gonna have a 1-2? I think the first 1-2 of the whole season, or is it no? Red Bull's the only other team that's had a 1-2, isn't it? So
yeah,
a 1-2, right? In a season where we've had 7 winners and a hyper competitive grid for at least half of the races we've had. How are you gonna have a 1-2 and be disappointed? I don't get it. This doesn't make any sense.
You can have a 1-2 and be disappointed by the way that they've acted in that 1-2. And now, that may be like saying, "Oh, you're hating on Oscar for winning." We're not.
No.
We're definitely, Oscar deserved to win.
Yeah.
100%. But the way McLaren went about it, the way that Lando built up that lead, McLaren and Lando was well within his rights to be a bit more selfish.
Absolutely, yeah, of course he was.
And the way they kept trying to guilt trip Lando as well.
Yeah,
oh
I know.
God.
And I think this all leads us down to the title of the video, and it leads us to this point of, are McLaren immature? Are they not mature enough as a top team? And are they ready to start winning world championships again?
Well, I think the thing is, the core of that, like, I think they've lost a lot of key members from back when they were at the front.
Yeah.
And obviously, most of the people there now are people who are there through the dark days. Let's call it the dark days.
The dark days.
And they've on this rise up. And I think there is a slight naivety in trying to get a championship.
Yep.
From the team as a whole.
Yep.
And the way you're saying this isn't the way you win a championship, you need your team. Correct, you do need your team. But the team also, especially when you're over halfway through a season, by that point, you do kind of have to put a couple more eggs in a certain driver's basket.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the team need to work that one out. As we see with Red Bull, all that eggs in Max's basket.
Yeah, there's not a single egg in Checo's basket.
God, no. But we've seen with Mercedes over the years, more eggs are in Hamilton's than what it was in Bottas's.
Yeah.
We saw how a championship, when you do try and give fair game between Rosberg and Hamilton, can end in crashes.
Yeah, and you did say it best during the race, actually.
Did I?
When, if I seem to remember during the stream, when the whole Lando Oscar thing was going on, you were like, well, I mean, McLaren at some point are going to have to choose a driver, because
sure.
if push comes to shove and they're taking points off each other, Max is going to win the title. Like,
Yeah.
if we get to the end of the season and Max beats Lando to the championship by under 7 points, we're all going to be sat here going, well, if McLaren just let Lando win Hungary, then, you know, we'd be sat here looking at Lando Norris as World Drivers' Champion. So it's one of those situations where... It is one of those situations where, have McLaren made the wrong choice by playing it as equal as they did? Or do they need to just put all their eggs in Lando's basket and say, okay, go get Max in the World Championship?
Well, I think he's in the position to go get Max in this championship as well. I mean, Max ain't up the road by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, let me just pull up the gap, because I
think it's 78 points. I think it is 78.
Yeah.
I looked yesterday. I'm pretty sure it's 78.
It is under 80, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's closing. I mean, it's not... People say, oh, 78 points is a long way, and it is. But you got to remember, this is the longest F1 season we've had on record. And we've only done 13 races out of 24. That means there's 11 races left. There's
76.
plenty of time. 76, yeah, there's plenty of time, if Max has a few bad races and McLaren continues to be at the front consistently, for Lando to close that gap.
Well,
I mean, we've seen it happen before with Seb and Lewis.
Well,
Max and Lewis.
Lando gets that win, it's under 70.
Yeah.
It's under 70, and that's interesting, because under 70s, like, that's when drivers can start looking behind.
Yeah.
And especially in a championship where Max could, like, each race you could go from Max winning, or Max could be 5th, 6th, where he was in Hungary.
Yep.
And that's huge points to gain. That's 15 swings either way.
Yep.
From a win to 5th.
It is. And what's crucial for Lando, keeping him in the fight at the moment, is that when Max has won, he has been second. Even though some people say... And this is, I do applaud Lando for this, and people have criticised him for not winning and maybe not making the right call. But one thing I do want to applaud Lando on is when he hasn't been able to win, at least he's still finished second. And that's what he needs to be doing. But Max hasn't been able to do that. So that gap could close.
Yeah, that gap is definitely there to be closed.
Yeah. I think the only instance where he didn't finish second was Monaco. He hasn't been on the podium. Was it Monaco the last, like, 5-6 races? Was it Monaco the only race he hasn't been on the podium? I think it might have been.
On the podium? Lando?
Yeah, I think
Lando
it was
Monaco,
on
the podium.
Was he? No, he wasn't.
Yeah, it was Charles, Oscar, then Lando.
It was Charles, Oscar, then Sainz.
No, it was Lando 3rd.
No,
it was McLaren 2-3.
It wasn't. It was Carlos. Carlos was 3rd in Monaco. And then Monaco is the only time. I mean, even so, 4th is still... I mean, 4th or 3rd, 3 points difference. It doesn't really matter, I guess, in when you're comparing 6-7 races, but he's been consistently thereabouts. But either way, the point is do McLaren need to just choose... and Austria. Oh, well, yeah, of course, Austria. I mean, he was going to be on the podium. But as we know, that turned out horribly. Yeah, I mean, do McLaren need to just focus in on one driver to win a championship?
If they think that they're in the driver's fight, then yes.
One thing I do want to point towards actually as well is if at the start of the turbo hybrid era, Mercedes weren't as far ahead as they were, and let's just say Ferrari and Red Bull were closer to begin with, I'd hate to think, I don't think Hamilton would have as many championships as he does, and I don't think Rosberg may have even won one, because if they were taking points off each other by battling and crashing as they were for 3 years in that era, Ricciardo was right there. If Red Bull were any closer, Seb was right there.
Yeah.
No, you know what I mean. And the thing is, the same principle is happening now. Like, McLaren aren't miles up the road. If they start taking points off each other, Max is right there and he's gonna win.
Yeah, but I mean, Mercedes built a ridiculous car at the start of that. And then when it did come to the point where Ferrari were close enough to win on merit, they did put their eggs in one basket.
Well, of course they did. They had the luxury they had the luxury of having a 1-2 driver dynamic. But I guarantee, if it was still Rosberg in that seat, I hate to
if it was still Rosberg in that seat, yeah, it would have been interesting to see what they would have done. I think that it still would have ended up being a 1-2 driver dynamic, but it would have been harder.
I don't think so. The thing is,
they would have had to try.
It would have caused upset, and that's
100%.
What's happening now. And like I said, like if Mercedes didn't build a ridiculous car, then it would have been a very, very tough season for both of them, Hamilton and Rosberg. So, and that's what's happening now. So I just think they've just got to favour a driver.
For constructors, they're well on their way to overdoing Red Bull.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
But I think if they want to try and target the drivers, they've got to choose now.
I'd be surprised if McLaren don't win the Constructors' Championship this year. That's a bold claim, but I genuinely believe it.
They do look really good, don't they?
I will be surprised if they don't win. I think
looks shocked. The only thing that might cause an upset in that is if Perez does get changed out.
Well, I was just about to say, yeah, I think the only way they don't win is if Perez gets changed mid-season.
Then it could be quite interesting to see how a Yuki or a Daniel would do up there.
Either of them at the moment is a better bet than Perez.
Yeah.
I think so.
It adds an extra dimension, wouldn't it?
It would, yeah, it would. It definitely for the constructors. I mean, there'd be no other reason to bring another driver in other than to secure the constructors.
Yeah.
So, but either way, let us know what you think in comments below. Do McLaren need to favour a driver? Are they too immature to win a world championship at the moment? Drivers, I mean, all constructors, who knows? But yeah, let us know in the comment section down below. Catch Thursday's video for the Belgium Grand Prix preview, and then our live streams on the weekend. We'll see you in a bit.